listeners, ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, here we are again, another podcast, and today we've got another veteran of the game, Rudolf Steiner, and he's now the head of commercial EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East and Africa, and he also looks after the global accounts there as well, amongst other things which we will get into later, Rudy. I say Rudy, that's how you're best known. I don't think many people call you Rudolf anymore, apart from at Christmas time, but great to have you on board.
Yeah, I've heard almost everything from Rudy to in Swiss German it's called Ruedi. That's that's my name, not Rudolf, but you may call me Rudolf.
Is that
yeah?
We wait until
Rudy's
December.
Good enough.
Yeah, Rudy's good enough. Rudy, just to kick us off, what made you accept the podcast invitation?
Well, I think it's a fantastic new media. I listened to it as well when on my way home. And to just test it out to see what it is. It's a fantastic media.
Okay, good. Now, one of the reasons and one of the principles we do this is to get to know the person behind the position. Yeah. So I won't go into too much detail about the time we shared a shower in Africa. We'll leave that one. We'll leave that one to people's imaginations. But what I would like to do is, now you've been in the game for a long time, and I think we first met back in 2004, 2005. How have you seen things change?
Well, over the years, I mean, what developed depends on where it is. On the cargo side, what developed is a clear set of KPIs, which is measured against.
Do you think people measure it properly, Rudy?
Is measured more against than on other businesses. If we compare to the ground handling, we have these KPIs, but it's not yet set through. Obviously, you can always get better, but we have at least a small first set of which is a good start. And then 2004, obviously low cost carrier, big entry, and more synergies, efficiencies, cost savings is the name of the game.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm really focused on, and obviously coming to the end of a career and enjoying and looking back, how did you actually get into this business?
Well, I started as running a trucking company, doing these positions at 22 after my studies. So telling 55 years old guys where to go and where not to go was an interesting part. Then I joined Swiss Air when it was still called Swiss Air, and went from there through from revenue management to sales, to then being placed abroad in Shanghai. Opened up Shanghai for Swiss Air, developed Asia as head of Asia at the time, together with my family. And then in 2000 we went back and through the grounding, which was quite an intensive moment.
But did you ever actually think or sit back and think, ground handling, cargo, this is the industry for me. I found my destiny now, and I appreciate the fact that you were telling people where to go. Yeah. Back then at 22, and I got to be honest, I'm still telling people where to go. Sometimes. Not as they would expect, but when did you actually think this is the industry for me?
Back when I joined sales, actually, interaction, airline, O&D, the planet actually, and the idea is the interaction with the customer. Yeah. And you must say, obviously, I started as an airliner, and at some point I just had the idea to look beyond the fence to see if the grass is greener and joined a handler. So it's a different world. It's the same industry, but a different world.
A hugely different world, and we'll come to that later. Now, did you have anybody who motivated you or mentored you or helped you, gave you a bit of coaching, somebody that you looked up to when you first started?
Along the way, there were many, obviously. I mean, a couple of, the old Swiss Air School with all the trainings, there were many people. Handlers.
Do you want to feel free to name a few because...
obviously, Peter Somalia is one. Yeah. Then, of course, John Batten.
John Batten, BJ.
Yeah, he calls himself John Batten nowadays, I understand.
I think in his positions, BJ's a little bit...
let's not
doesn't go down well, eh?
Okay.
And for those who don't know why, because obviously John Batten, you'd expect to hear him called JB.
Yeah.
But BJ is because he was called Big John.
Absolutely, and only because of that.
Yeah. And considering he's only 5'6", that's quite a big accolade.
Yeah, absolutely, and he slimmed a bit, obviously.
Yeah, no, he's a good man. But he's a big character in this industry.
He is size-wise. Obviously, he drove a lot within Swissport with his personality. The ups and downs. He showed me as well where to go. I learned a lot from him, so he's definitely one.
Yeah, and he's always, I've got to say, he's one of the few people that no matter what, he'll always stand up, give an opinion. He's very supportive. He's got a good sense of humour, a great sense of humour.
Absolutely.
And no, he's a good man.
But as well to just, I learned to drive things through. Okay, an A. I knew that if you promise an A, then you deliver an A. But how to do that in a organization, that was an interesting learning piece. Besides BJ's personality, which is always fun.
Yeah, no. And the one thing you've got to do when you're working anywhere is at least enjoy what you do.
Yeah, and we did.
Yeah, no.
And I still do.
Yeah. Now, if you were to give a little bit of advice to youngsters coming into the business who don't know they don't know too much about it. I mean, it's one thing doing supply chain management, logistics, etc. But when you're actually on the ground and you've got such excessive extremes in heats and colds and different types of people, you've got unions, you've got people who don't even speak the language. What would you say to them? What would you say is one of the biggest motivational points that you could give to somebody if you had to come in front of a group of students or people considering a career? Why would you say this is the career for you?
You can achieve something. You can achieve something. You can develop something. You can implement an idea. You can run it through, and you see the effect of what you did. It's one of, amongst others, obviously, but one of the only industry where you can see that. And I guess we come to business innovations where you can, which were developed ideas and now implemented. Yes, there is heat. Yes, there is cold, but it's still teamwork. It's a family, and well versed to actually start in there.
How do you think the development of the pharmaceutical side of the business has it improved the handlers, or is it given more headaches? What do you feel on that?
Well, I think it's for the first time we had an industry partner, a shipper, together with a forwarder and a handler and an airline sitting together around the table, trying to evolve along these chains. And the result as such is, you see the hubs around the globe, which ended up in now being hubs being certified as CIV and pharma compatible. So it's an interesting product. It is. I guess we still have some loopholes in it, but the development over the past 3 years were amazing.
But don't you find it's one of the things now that's brought everybody together, because there's very clearly defined sets of guidelines, requirements, deviations, controls you have to comply with, otherwise you're not going to get the business. So don't you think it's a well worthwhile and probably long overdue discipline that needed to come in?
It is, and why did we achieve that? Exactly because all the industry partners sat together and agreed on something and measure against that. So this is the only part.
Later on this morning or lunchtime, I'm supporting the IGHC here with a little speaking role with regards to the ICHM and the manual. Now, what's your opinion of the new cargo handling manual?
Well, it's a start. It's a development. It's a well-needed development, again, it's a manual. And it's a book until it is lived and implemented. So well worth it.
And what do you think are the biggest obstacles now for people taking it up? Because for me, one of the things I'm going to be explaining to people is I, for the life of me, do not understand why somebody who knows that something has been put together by experts in the business and it's simplified, it refers to other areas of the business from a manual perspective. It doesn't complicate things by having manuals everywhere. Why do you think people still want to do things their own way?
to differentiate the brand, maybe. Maybe it's a lack of discipline in the overall organization. If you look at the business, we all depend on the very last hands, loading cargo, loading bags into a plane, according to procedure or not. And it's discipline and leadership which make the difference, obviously.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, so many people we've been on opposite sides, customer, supplier. I've been on the handling side as well. And the one thing that I look when I see people and they say, right, yep, but we want you to do it this way. We want you to add this. We'd like you to do this differently. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, are you really even able to measure that? So why are you asking for it?
Yeah, but again, I think it's to differentiate on the competition side, if at all, because there is no other other measure against that. So why would you do it? If you have a set of KPIs, why wouldn't you adhere? And you're right. I mean, the longer we discuss with a potential partner, the more differentiator they throw in. After all, the message is, if you have 4, why can't you standardize these 4 and just measure these before you develop another 12?
Exactly, Rudy. I'm thinking of on the medical side, as an extension of pharma. If there's a best practice for an operation and everybody agree, then that's the way they do it. In the cockpit, if there's a best practice for what you should be doing with your jet, then everybody does it. Yeah. They don't come in and say, well, I'm going to do it 3 times today instead of 5, or 4 times instead of 7. Mm-hmm. And do you not think now that people must start getting together to really, really reap the benefits of the efficiencies that we could be putting into the industry if we all did so? Well,
they have to, but I mean, the question is how do you enhance that? How do you organize that? Again, it's industry driven. So if the shipper as such, talks to the logistic change thereafter on a regular base and measures this, I'm sure we are getting that.
Yeah. What's the biggest challenge that you face now, or that you've faced in the last few years?
Interesting question. Challenge in the industry is obviously resources, talents as well.
Talent. Why did you say talent?
Talent is, a career path is maybe the better way. I mean, missing career paths, discussing about them. Then the other one is the never-ending looking for synergies and cost efficiencies, which make it very interesting. But the question is, where does it end? Will it ever end? Will we come to a point where we say, thus far? And if you have to say further, it will have quality implication. Are you ready to take that or not?
Yeah, but this comes back then to the cost plus transparency acceptance within the relationship, because if it keeps going and going the way it is, I mean, everybody now is already starting to cut back. They're seeing margins attacked again. It's very difficult, which brings into mind the area of training, Rudy.
Training records, industry's training, IATA standardized training is a must today, and in a station as well, and again driven by discipline in a station with the support of a head office, allowing to have the files there.
And what about the type of training? Do you not think there's too much classroom training now?
There is. Well, I think there is well-needed classroom training, but does it have to be front to front, or can you do a pushback simulator with a virtual, exactly. Which we do in 2 or 3 stations to just improve our quality, health, and safety.
And how's that been taken by the staff?
It's very interesting. It's the next generation, right? So they are well used to that, and it's interesting because obviously you switch from rain to thunderstorms to wherever you sit in a bit. It doesn't obviously doesn't replace the actual training, but it's a fantastic help.
And that's what I was gearing up to. That we should start now, offering alternative ways to train people and to keep the competency levels up. Because what I'm seeing and training people myself, the attention level now seems to have dropped. And I don't know whether it's because of mobile phones or what it is, or people wanting things quicker. They can't seem to sit in a classroom and give that attention like in the old days. And I think now we have to move and we have to give them like smaller sound bites, little modules, things that we do on a regular basis so they know it's part of their learning curve, part of their performance. Are you guys dealing with things like that?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, this is, attentive span, 20 minutes, then a break. Then with these simulators, it just loosens up the crowd to then go back and share the experience and talk about it and do a movie about it to celebrate. I think it's important is not only the classroom training and the simulator, but the us feeling in that classrooms to then tell them as well you achieved something.
Yeah. No, always good to recognise. Rudy, looking back now, what would you say if we were just hooked up and somebody said, tell us one of the most shocking stories you've ever experienced, or tell us one of the funniest experiences that you've had?
Well, the most shocking stories for me personally is obviously the grounding of Swissair at the time. If that is a story, because from one day to the other to just see an airline sink in ground and have all my colleagues walking on the street, this was quite impressive. But then on the funny stories, we had so many.
Go on. I'm sure people now, whatever they're doing, they'd love to hear it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to turn you into a comedian or anything, but with the amount of experience you've had, I mean, I've seen some crazy things.
Let me think about that. At some point, we had when in Shanghai back in '96. So we had a maid, and it was Christmas, and she didn't understand. So we asked her, can you organize to buy us Christmas trees? And our Chinese was not good enough. And she said yes to it, and then for the next day, and then the next day we have these two tall guys in our living room, and we say, what are they doing? And they say, you ordered two Christmas men, and they are here. So we had these two guys, but still no Christmas trees. So that was funny.
Just two local big men, eh?
Yes.
Okay, I'll remember that whenever I'm next over there. Now, Rudy, yourself now, what do you do to balance the work that you do and your private life? How do you do that?
Well, I walk normally every day.
How many miles a day do you walk?
I walk 6 miles, 10,000 steps minimum.
So you're a long way away from home by the end of the week then?
I am, but and I'm still not. So I have already, 8,500. So I did my workout.
What, today?
Yeah.
This morning you did?
Yes.
Well, down in the gym?
Yeah. So I mean, you in my age, 57, you have to start something. I have to lose a couple of kilos. Everyone will say who see me. So I'm on the way there by doing exactly that. So it's a daily workout. I need it to as well to just blank my brain, the best ideas I have actually on the treadmill. Then I play golf, and my kids are grown up, so this is me, my wife, and the cat for the time being.
And the cat?
And I enjoy it very much, to wait for the next step then.
Yeah. And do you have like a bucket list, Rudy?
Well, yes. Although we have been almost everywhere. Bucket is South America. Bucket is Chile, is Buenos Aires, never been in all these years. So whenever, in a couple of years, like 7 to 8 years, that is a must do. The other one is to, paragliding. I was once invited, Then the guy actually, we started up, and he, all of a sudden he says, whoosh, oh no, we can't, and we landed and I say no. I can't. I'm not doing that. Trying that a second time, so we didn't take off. Maybe it's because of my weight, or I don't know.
I'm not being funny. I'm just thinking, like you and me, we're both big fellas.
So we run, we run down, and he goes, and now, and he said, "Oh shit!" And we stopped it. So, but I still want to do that. That's
overload. Yeah.
I don't know. I
hope
not.
I think that's both of us. I think anybody that would offer to take us would think, "Oh my God, there better be a good strong wind here."
Yeah.
And you thought of doing a parachute jump or same thing?
No, parachute, it would be too big challenge. Most probably I would die there, but okay, no. But the paragliding was an idea my wife had. And I told her the result, and I say, "You really want to get rid of me?" And she said, "No, it was not the idea."
But good inspiration for the weight loss, yeah.
Absolutely.
And any other hobbies apart from golf? Do you read?
I read a lot. I need it. I read a lot, and I try to watch a bit less Netflix and read more. But so it's these two. I read a lot of books. I love to read Stephen King. Obviously, okay. I'm waiting for. I read all the books. So it's drama, horror, and so on, which I don't have most probably during my whole day. But
you like a bit of a thrill and a bit of horror after work.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, fair play. And if you were to write a book, what would it be along the lines of?
Well, a good thriller, most probably, starting with unexpected twists, and an open end. So you really a page turner where you say is only on the last page you see it. It can be about the industry. It can be about nature as well. So science fiction, whatever, would be my topic.
Yeah, and right, moving away a little bit from science fiction, but a little bit back to reality now. Memories. What are the biggest memories you've had now from your career and your time in the industry?
I have so many. One was when in Abu Dhabi, when we went back, we had a look at this hub project.
Yeah.
So I'm standing with Stan Wright on the 11th floor, and I look into the desert, and he looks down and sees a person walking down there, and he says, "She's a 10." And I said, "Really?" And he laughs his head off, and I didn't understand what it is. So it is not in this community to then further elaborate, but I can, when I can give you the solution tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm sure Stan will appreciate you mentioning that one. And when was it? 2004, wasn't it? 2004, 2005.
Yes.
And do you have obviously with your new position, do you enjoy the Middle East?
I enjoy it very much, and we grow fast. I mean, we just opened up Jeddah, Muscat. It's a fast-growing region. Not the easiest, but where quality counts and where you really have to make a difference there. I think we achieved. It was not an easy way, but we have a first set up, and we win additional customer and want to further develop.
Have you spent much time yourself in Saudi?
I was 2 times in Jeddah. It's not always easy to get there with the visa, especially for a Swiss, but a very interesting country.
And you've been around? You've been Dammam, Riyadh?
No, just in Jeddah, not yet. But I guess with my new role, which I have now for 6 months, I'll definitely be there.
But it's a privilege to be able to go there, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent 5 years there now, and it's been a huge learning and just the life experience. It's something that I genuinely wouldn't have swapped for the world. And I met some great people there, and also some challenges. But it's a really unique place, and most people never get the chance to go.
I mean, it's fascinating and interesting, and a lot to do. And that's especially on the logistics area, but very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. Rudy, now, what do you see? What do you see as the next 4 or 5 year changes in our field, in our industry?
I would guess business innovation, much more automatism, so automatic pushback wherever you can do that. but as well, so automize, start 2 steps earlier. So you can, we are now discussing to implement a back scanner, automatic, so where you can walk around. So not that you have like these entry points which are congested, to open up the flow, be it in boarding, be it in check-in, which is automated anyway. If you reflect back 2004, nothing was there. Now you check in and you don't have to touch any check-in counter anymore until you are at the gate.
But what about, every single time I check in, it doesn't matter where, you get different opinions from different people. The size of the plastic bag, the way they ask you, laptops out, laptops in, belt on, belt off, watch on, watch off, shoes on, shoes off. Why is there so much difference all the time? Because when people do encounter that and there's delays, that's the frustrations that come out.
Yeah, this is, this my frustrations as well. I guess it's a matter of the local focus, having different security measures in there. I can walk with a belt through 2 times in my hometown, and the 3rd times they say no, and you take out your shoes. So it's a matter of regulations as well, I guess.
Yeah, but like I said, again, you're talking about congested lines and everything, and also no matter how many times you do it, and people are told with your with your liquids, they always have liquids in their bag.
Yeah, there are first-time travelers still. There are elderly people. I was just on a holiday with my father, and he at that point he said, she asked, "Do you have any liquids with you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I have some water in my knee." Yeah, can you imagine what happens? So you sort out.
Yeah, is it more or less than 100 milliliters?
And then I have to recollect him there. It is people who travel for the first time or just are not attentive enough to then see that.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And where did you take him?
Well, to Mallorca. He's 85. He's still playing better than me on golf. Shame on me.
No, but that's great. That's great on him.
Maybe I let him win sometimes. So, but okay. And it was there. And then obviously you lose him. You cannot go back. And then it's like, "Father, what did you?" Yeah, just I wanted to make a joke. I said, "No, it's no jokes there. It just goes through."
No, fair play to him. And what's your next vacation? Where are you off to next?
What is next? Next is Mallorca again. It's the family reunion. Me, my kids, their partners, my father, 86 now. So, I will tell him not to actually talk about water.
No more water on the knee, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And whereabouts in Mallorca?
We go, southeast, where we have a couple of golf courses there, and it's golf holidays for a week.
And do you want to give a little picture, a little boost to the golf courses? What are they called?
Well, one of the most interesting one is Pula Golf. Definitely well worth playing. A challenge, but there are many others there. So we go there to have actually good time. We play 18 holes and then have a barbecue and a swim and a lot of sleep.
A lot of sleep, yeah.
Looking forward to
it. And it's got good. That's got sea views.
Where we are, yeah, it is.
The golf course.
No, the golf course not. No. This is mountainous. Very challenging, and we walk. So this is.
So you definitely get your 10,000 in there then. Huh?
Easy. Yeah. It's 26 by then. Yeah.
And no problems with the knees or anything yet?
No, not me. Thank God. But my wife sometimes. It's obviously it's 57. You get.
Yeah. Did you play any sport as a young man, Rudy?
Yes. Yeah, I did. I was in athletics.
Which particular?
Just running and. Spear, how do you?
Spear, javelin.
Yeah.
Javelin.
So I was, I was not good enough.
And I just picture you now with a spear.
Yeah, but right. So not good enough, and then things change. Different life.
That might be a way of changing things when you're discussing SLAs and KPIs. Huh?
To have a spear with me.
Bring the spear.
Could be a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is there anything that Anything that if people knew you, and people were asked, you know, how do you remember, or how do you feel, how do you think about Rudy? What do you think they'd say?
Well, I guess they see me as a calm personality. So no agitation. They might as well say, you know, watch out, 11:45, he gets grumpy if he doesn't get any food. So, you know, calm, to the point, nice, friendly personality. This is how they would see it. I don't know. Let's ask them.
Yeah, no. I agree. You're a gentle giant,
yeah,
and a very nice man, Rudy. Now, if you wanted to make changes yourself and you had a free magic wand, what would you do and why?
In the industry?
Yep, and especially your sector. So now, if we walked out of this room and it was in your power to change things. So we've had all the Marvel films and all the superheroes. If you turned out to be Mr. Cargo, what would you do and why?
Set up an infrastructure which allows fully automation, be it from loading, so be it check-in, loading, under wing, above the wing, even with the pushback, so that the pallet just flies up to a certain point and that back, if at all there is a pallet needed. So there's a big challenge. I mean, because nowadays you can have good ideas, but they are not implemented because of space constraints or whatever. But if you would have a white sheet of paper, and design an airport in that way, there could be enormous efficiencies.
And a timeline, Rudy? What is it? We're not going to see it.
No.
We're not going to see it, my friend.
No, I don't get it.
So now something practical that you would change.
What I would change? Practical, what, in the next 3 years?
Yep. Next 3 years, yep. Before you hit a big milestone birthday, what would you like to see happen that you can see now and is a must?
I would implement these life suits, which we developed and develop, deploy that around the globe, which support our baggage guys, lifting.
The brace and
you see that our booth.
Yeah. So it goes up and down, and it's automatic.
Well, it's you just put it around your body, and it helps you to get up. So it supports the muscles.
Yeah,
it's definitely something which we are testing now, and which we can develop going forward.
And how many people are using that?
Well, now it's in the test phase, so we have it in Basel and 2 more points with a good result. And I mean, you can go and have a look at our booth here. It's interesting.
I'm going to go and do that this afternoon.
It's good how you lift, and then you really feel it.
That's what I want to.
Yeah. That is, if you can do that, that is already very good. Then the rest, obviously, is the simulators we are planning on. It's a matter of cost of the equipment, but it's a lot of fun. And if you can implement that, there's many others. There's delay prediction tools. We will implement in the next couple of years.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I wonder how many people in our industry, both baggage and on the cargo side, have actually ended up with bad backs as a result of all the years in bellies, holds, warehouses, cold mornings, cold evenings.
50 degrees, and this is as well. It improves the health of the worker. I think this is very important.
Yeah, no, it shows companies care.
Yeah, absolutely,
and that's one of the most important things. Rudy, we're coming to an end now, and I said about the book. Have you had any idea what your biography would be called? What would you think? What would you like? I've got something down now that I think fits.
Is it? Tell me.
No. You have a little pop.
My
yourself.
biography. It's developed milestone in the cargo industry in amongst various regions. Something along these lines.
That's a book itself, Rudy. I've read books with less words than that. Never mind the title. For you, my friend, I've put up and away.
Up and away.
Up and away. And I think we were talking about the the hang glider.
Yes. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Up and away.
And also the cargo. So I think that's how I'll remember you, Rudy. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah. Can I ask you if anybody wanted to get in touch with you now, how would they do so?
Well, via LinkedIn, via email address, via Swissport, obviously, anytime.
Okay. You want to rattle off a quick reference? Website, email.
Well, Rudolf.Steiner@Swissport.com.
Okay. Everybody will remember now Rudolf.Steiner.
Don't write Rudy.
No.
That would Rudolf.
That would be rude, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Appreciate
and look forward to seeing you over the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you.